So if we look at a kind of a time chart here, we're here in the third conflict, and we have out of the French Revolution, the radical left joining in with Islam. They're going to go down in this third conflict. And the moderate ones, the moderate Muslims, will follow traditional Christianity, and those who follow God will share the last warning message with the world. So how does it happen? Let's take a look. In 2011, our first book was published, and I had some expectations. Radical Islam was going to anger the papacy. The papacy would call for war against radical Islam. The United States and its allies would be the military enforcer. Radical Islam would be overthrown. Moderate Islam would follow papal-led Christianity, the Christian West, and some Muslims would follow Jesus and the Bible. That was my expectations in 2011. The publisher was dragging its feet, and I said, I wish you'd hurry up and publish this book. And they said, why? I said, I want it to be prophecy, not history when you publish it. And they did a pretty good job of getting it out quickly. In 2014, in sequence, all those things started happening. So yeah, it was a good idea that it was already out. In 2020, I was more clear and clarified on how the radical left is the time of the end ally of the King of the South. And that is, since 2023, has become painfully obvious. But I'm actually holding a book here. It's the revised version of our book, because right after 2014, it's kind of weird reading a book predicting things that, come on, they're already happening. Well, they weren't in 2011 when it was written, so we revised it and put things now from future tense to past tense and showed how they're actually happening with the footnoting on how that was fulfilled. And there's a newer book even since then. But let's take a look. In sequence, you're going to watch the unfolding of the whirlwind. 2014, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the self-proclaimed leader of the Islamic State, caliph of a caliphate, stretching across Iraq and Syria, has vowed to lead the conquest of Rome as he called on Muslims to immigrate to his new land to fight under its banner around the globe. So on the first day of a functioning caliphate, they say they're after Rome. I didn't know it'd be so clear on day one that the King of the South would go after the King of the North and say so. But just remember that every time you have a caliphate, you end up with a holy war, because both the King of the North and the King of the South want to control the whole world. There's not room for both of them on the same planet. You had Arab caliphates, you had the Crusades. Ottoman caliphates, you had the Holy League conflict, with several wars in that. So they say they're after Rome and the world. My question then was, how long would it take the Pope to call for war against the Islamic State? And if it did, how long would it take the U.S. to strike the target? It took 5.5 weeks, and the Pope called for war. He did it on August 7, 2014. Pope Francis appealed to world leaders on Thursday to help end the crisis in northern Iraq after a sweeping advance by radical Islamic State militants forced thousands of residents of Iraq's biggest Christian town to flee their homes. His Holiness addresses an urgent appeal to the international community to take action to end the humanitarian tragedy now underway. And in the next couple of days, he sent out his ambassadors to make it clear that he meant military action. The next day, the United States, President Obama, said America is coming to help. Within 36 hours of the papal call for military action, the United States struck the Islamic State caliphate for the very first time.